This is NDDC Today.
So for now, put the house in order. Then what I thought we were set up to do. Make sure the audit, the forensic. We ask for it. Not the governors. NDDC governors ask for it. And we told the president to also set up the governing council as required by the advisory as required by law. So we'll be interfacing with the board.
That because of what we see as governors from the Niger Delta, that there was the need to carry out a forensic audit of the activities of the Niger Delta Development Commission, so that from the results that we get from that audit, it will be possible to streamline the activities of the NDDC with a view to putting it on course.
When NDDC does not fulfill its mandate, who suffers? The people in this region. And so we, the governors of the NDDC, have decided that we will work with the new acting managing director to reposition the operation. And one of the key mandates for us is to make sure that a thorough forensic audit is undertaken on NDDC.
Hello. So the spate of demands for the forensic audit, beginning from the consortium of the Niger Delta governors who went to see the president, and now it's almost a regional request that the NDDC be audited. The events leading to the real event started earlier on this week, as the lead consultants for the audit came calling on the acting MD, Professor Oke and Associates. President Muhammadu Buhari in October 2019 ordered a forensic audit of the activities of the Interventionist Agency from 2001 to 2019. It was observed that the humongous amount of money allocated to the Commission over the years has not churned out commensurate projects and infrastructure across the Niger Delta region. However, the Niger Delta Development Commission had over time made it clear that some of the factors mitigating against it to perform optimally included the indebtedness of the federal government to the Commission and delay by all companies in fulfilling their obligations to the agency. These monies, they claimed, if they came on time, would have gone a long way in assisting the completion of many abandoned projects across the Niger Delta region. To resolve everything, the agitations about non-performance led immediately to the establishment of a three-man Interim Management Committee, IMC, to oversee the affairs of the Commission and work with the audit team that would be engaged for the probe. The three-member Interim Management Committee was eventually expanded to 5, with the earlier acting managing director, Dr. Joy Nunye, replaced with Professor Oke and Daniel Ponde. The other 4 are Chief Ibanga Basi Etang, Acting Executive Director of Finance and Administration, EDFA, Dr. Cairo Ojobo, Acting Executive Director Projects, EDP, Mrs. Caroline Nagbo, Member, and Cecilia Bukola Akintomide, Member. To show the seriousness he attached to the forensic auditing of the NDDC, President Buhari in January 2020 officially informed the Senate, who had earlier resolved not to have any dealings with the IMC, of his decision to vet the books of the NDDC. The Senate accepted his explanations, declaring his total support for the NDDC forensic audit. In February 2020, the Federal Executive Council, FEC, approved the appointment of Messrs. Olumoyewa Bashiru and Company as lead consultant for the forensic audit of the Niger Delta Development Commission. The lead consultant would coordinate the appointments of other forensic auditors that would take part in the exercise. It has not been a smooth time for the NDDC. the proposed forensic audit has attracted a lot of controversy. While many welcome the idea, many also have questioned the singling out of the NDDC for scrutiny, where many other government agencies have not fared any better. While some say important interested parties are afraid of being found out and are therefore fighting the IMC, others opine that the past should be corrected and let to rest and should not be the main focus of the IMC. After all, they say, what the Niger Delta needs now is development, not the list of people convicted. Well, all said and done, it has begun.
The Interim Management Committee IMC, led by Professor Kemebradikumo Ponde, in company of the Executive Director Finance and Administration, Chief Ibanga Bassi, the Executive Director Projects, Dr. Cairo Ojugbo, and other directors of the Commission, officially flagged off the forensic audit exercise recently at the Commission's headquarters in Port Harcourt, River State, by handing over the preliminary report along with documents of 8,000 verified projects across the 9 Niger Delta states during the verification exercise to the lead consultants of the audit firm, Olumuyiwa Bashiru and Consultants.
On behalf of the expanded Interim Management Committee, I welcome you to this occasion of the actual commencement, so kick-off of the forensic audit of the activities of the Niger Delta Commission, as directed by Mr. President, General Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, through the Honorable Minister of the Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio. Actually, this exercise has commenced. It's just the official ceremony to show that this exercise has commenced. I also want to use this opportunity to formally congratulate you on your appointment as lead consultant for this very important exercise, which is aimed at restoring sanity and prudence in the management of the affairs of the Commission in a manner that will ensure the rapid development of the Niger Delta region in line with the mandates contained in the Act setting up the Niger Delta Development Commission.
This preliminary stage will enable the forensic auditor gather information so as to foster the field audit work, although activities at this stage commenced in March 2020. They will be concluded later on this year. This audit exercise is set to change the trajectory of the region. It is an objective undertaking to account for the resources made available to the Commission over the years. It will enable the Commission bring to account those who misappropriated the commonwealth of the people with relevant insights to institute procedures and processes that will guarantee that the mandate of the NDDC is realized.
It is my pleasure, therefore, to hand over these contract documents covering the over 8,000 projects captured during the exercise, packaged on a state-to-state or state-by-state basis. Permit me to thank our dear President, General Muhammadu Buhari, for listening to the pleas of the governors of the Niger Delta states and other stakeholders to conduct a forensic audit of the Commission. This audit is not for auditing's sake only. It is an exercise which will change the trajectory of the region. It is an objective undertaking to account for the resources available to the Commission over the years.
The principal partner and lead consultants for the forensic audit is optimistic that with this audit exercise, a new chapter will be opened for the region's rapid economic development, as well as reversing the failures recorded in the past.
One cannot but lament, judging by the amount of resources poured into the Commission over the years, compared with the level of development which are recorded over the same period of time. It is this huge gap between resources invested and physical and human and economic development recorded that informs the President to call for the forensic audit of the Commission. Hopefully, after the exercise, a new chapter will be open for the region's rapid economic development, as well as reversing the failures recorded in order to recover those resources recoverable and plug the gaps and to stop the waste that is keeping the region underdeveloped.
He also noted that the audit exercise should be seen as an opportunity and not a witch hunt. It is an important process that will right the wrongs that is keeping the region in penury and underdeveloped. It will also provide a strong base upon which a new Niger Delta will be built. Giving a breakdown of the work plan, the managing partner of the lead consultants says the activities will be in 2 parts and several stages. He also hinted that the final report will be submitted to the President through the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs.
Part 1, that is the pre-forensic audit activities. This stage is to enable the forensic auditors. We are the lead consultants. We are the lead forensic auditors. There are other forensic auditors that will be in other states. Each forensic auditor from each state. So the forensic auditors will use this opportunity to gather enough information. One of such is this one that we have in the bags there, the document. We are not going to look at all the documents ourselves. The other forensic auditors will also be involved. Each, as you have been told, each document represents each state. That's how it has been packaged. And that is the same way the auditors will work on them. Now, although the activities at this stage are commenced in March, they will be concluded hopefully by May 12. We hope that by then, all the preliminary exercise concerning the recruitment of other forensic auditors will have been concluded.
It is expected that at the end of the forensic audit exercise in December 2020, a new development agency will emerge. This is the vision and mission that must be allowed to succeed for the betterment of the people of the Niger Delta region.
So the lead consultant that to lead a whole consortium of other consultants to effectively ensure the auditing of the NDDC in place, and they've received all the materials that they're supposed to get to start their work. Now, last week we told you what the NDDC was doing to curb COVID-19, how it's going to spend 1.4 billion, 775 million providing drugs and ventilators and all the apparatus needed to check COVID-19. But now it's gone a step further by offering palliatives. Now, palliatives is a word that's common everywhere. You say palliative, palliatives. Actually means that they attempt to make the suffering a bit easier for those who are directly or indirectly affected by COVID-19. The NDDC has been in the forefront of this and recently distributed some very needed materials to certain groups in the Niger Delta.
The Interim Management Committee IMC of the Niger Delta Development Commission NDDC, through the Office of the Special Advisor to the MD on Youths, has donated cash, food items and other consumables as palliatives to orphans and widows in the Niger Delta region to cushion the negative effects of the lockdown of states in the region due to the coronavirus pandemic. The Special Advisor to the MD on Youths, Ambassador Alfred Etuk, while speaking on the distribution of palliatives to the not-so-privileged, the vulnerable and poor in the Niger Delta region, described the initiative as one that is meant to give succor to these category of persons in the region to enable them get by during this COVID-19 period lockdown, when most of them are finding it difficult to make ends meet.
I want to personally thank the MD for having a very good conscience and mind, which is very sound, for him to have remembered these people in the region, the vulnerables and the poor, over times we cannot remember having things like this being done. When this whole thing happened, some people, I think there's a misunderstanding or misinformation. A lot of persons think it's an empowerment program. It is not. It's just a palliative to cushion, the effect of this lockdown.
Ambassador Utuk said that several persons who have benefited from this scheme in the region will have their details published for all to see, as he advised those who are against the Commission's giving out these palliatives at this difficult time to join hands with the NDDC management and help move the Commission to the next level.
We deem it very fit to reach out to the actual people. The MD and the IMC wants us to get, to reach out to, and we have done our best. Everybody, every area, every state was actually captured and carried along. For instance, the program was supposed to be for 700 persons, but as I speak, by the time we gather every of our information from the bank, we are having like 5,600 and something persons that has been carried along in this program. That in due time, the names of beneficiaries will also be published. The widows were not left out. We covered about 210 widows. The home for the elderly, we got about 205 of them. We went to different motherless orphanages and all of that. Prisons, we also visited the prisons. We are not, left out. And this was the idea of the MD for people who cannot afford even a square meal for themselves to be reached, out to. Basically, that's what we've done.
Beneficiaries of this gesture by the NDDC were thankful to the author of this initiative, which they described as timely and God-sent to help them mitigate their sufferings at this very critical time.
Honor, thank you. NDDC, my children, Honor, thank you for remembering us. Widow, where they Honor, thank you for remembering us. Let God bless Honor, oh, may God bless Honor, oh, may God bless Honor.
Orphanages in the Niger Delta region were not left out of the distribution of palliatives the NDDC plan to use to reduce the sufferings of vulnerable and disadvantaged people of the region who the COVID-19 pandemic have affected severely, as they also got food items and other necessary consumables to assist them during the lockdown period.
I want to say a very big thank you to Honorable Minister of Niger Delta, Senator Godswill Akpabio, the Acting Managing Director, NDDC, Professor Kembra Kumo Daniel Pondi, and the Special Advisor on Youth, Ambassador Alfred Etuk, for their kind gesture, for the love they have for this home and these little children, to visit us today, just to show love, especially at this point in time. I want to say a very big thank you.
I want to sincerely appreciate the Honorable Minister of Niger Delta, distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio. I want to also appreciate immensely the Acting Managing Director of NDDC, Professor Kembra Kumo Daniel Pondi. I want to also extend our heartfelt gratitude to the Special Advisor Youth to NDDC, to the Managing Director NDDC, Ambassador Alfred Etuk, for your kind gesture, for remembering the orphans and the less privileged in Jesus' offering here today. We say that God in heaven bless you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Your children will not be orphans in the name of Jesus. Amen. Nobody will take your seat in the name of Jesus. Amen.
The joy of these young beneficiaries caught in the middle of this pandemic knew no bounds, as they sang, danced and prayed for the Commission for remembering them at this critical time.
Because you have remembered your fast today, may God of Biafra fight for you. Amen. Mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen. You shall not die. Amen. Mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Never grant your heart desire. Amen. Succeed. Amen. Make it. Amen. Shine again. Amen. Fight. Amen. And bless. Amen. Make wealth. Amen. Shine again. Amen.
NDDC is behind you. They have shown up in this time of COVID-19. They can reach out to people. Even when people think that all hope is lost, we are reaching out to people.
Amen.
We are reaching out to the less
Put your hand for Jesus.
The Niger Delta Development Commission had recently also committed over 1 billion naira to assist governors of the 9 states of the region in the fight against the pandemic, including 775 million naira worth of support in drugs and equipment to the states, as well as another 270 million naira to fast-track the establishment of isolation centers in the 27 senatorial districts of the region.
The world and Nigeria reel under the devastating effects of coronavirus, now christened COVID-19. The NDDC rises to protect its 20 million people. These people, already devastated by epidemics of lack of basic amenities and infrastructure, soil and air pollution, poverty, cannot afford another one. The spread of this harbinger of death. Mastering a resource of over 1.4 billion naira, the NDDC budgets 775 million naira to help the Niger Delta to provide ventilators, oxygen apparatus, drugs across the 9 states of the Niger Delta. 270 million naira to fast-track isolation centers in 27 senatorial districts across the region. This epidemic that has so far killed over 92,000 people worldwide must not be allowed a foothold in the Niger Delta. Meanwhile, Niger Deltans are strongly urged to cooperate with all the guidelines of the NDDC. Self-isolation, social distancing, hand cleanliness, protection of face areas, management of sneezes and coughs, and adherence to lockdowns. The NDDC backs the NCDC to stop COVID-19 in its tracks in the Niger Delta. Will you join us? The NDDC, determined to make a difference.
There is no fraud at NDDC. The Niger Delta Development Commission has been inundated with inquiries on many negative reports in online publications alleging acts of impropriety on the part of the Commission. Given the extent of public interest and the determination of the Interim Management Committee to chart a new course for the Commission, we feel duty bound to respond as follows. 1. COVID-19. The COVID-19 contract online publication currently being circulated as purportedly issued by the Director of Procurement, awarding a contract of 5.55 billion for the procurement of personal protection equipment and other kits to fight the spread of COVID-19 in the Niger Delta region. We wish to unequivocally deny that contract. The document is simply fake or at best unauthorized. The letters for the contracts awarded by the Commission are signed by the Executive Director, Project on the authority of the Acting Managing Director, who is the Chief Accounting Officer of the Commission. Neither of the officials is aware of the contract letter. It is inconceivable that a contract of such magnitude could be awarded otherwise. The Commission has launched an internal investigation into how such a letter was issued and on what authority. For the purpose of transparency, we wish to confirm that the Commission has just secured presidential approval to intervene by assisting NCDC in the supply of kits and the building of isolation centers in the 9 Niger Delta states. Also, the Commission has disbursed 775 million naira to assist the 9 Niger Delta states to fight the plague. The Commission has also disbursed 270 million as palliatives to the youths, women and physically challenged in the 27 senatorial districts of the region. 2. Lassa fever. There are claims that the present management has paid out huge sums for contracts to supply kits and drugs for the prevention of Lassa fever. We wish to state that this present management has not awarded any Lassa fever contract. For the records, the Commission awarded 3 contracts for intervention against the Lassa fever scourge, and all these took place in 2019, at least 1 year before the present management came into office. For the purpose of transparency, these contracts are as follows. In early 2019, there was an outbreak of Lassa fever in Ondo and Edo states, which overwhelmed the capacity of the state governments to cope. The governor of Ondo State made a request to the Commission for intervention. As a result, the then management headed by Professor Nelson Bambaifa on the 20th of February 2019 awarded a contract for procurement of 21,000 Lassa fever prevention kits for the region in the sum of 903 million naira. The items were supplied and distributed. The contractor was duly paid. As the scourge persisted, there was need for further intervention. Another 1,000 protective kits were ordered for 1,092,283,500 naira. This contract was awarded on May 11, 2019. The last contract for Lassa fever was awarded on April 16, 2019 in the sum of 2,425,242,248 naira. All the kits were supplied and distributed to the 9 Niger Delta states. As at date, the Commission is yet to pay for this last contract. All payments had been suspended on ministerial order due to the need for verification of past contracts. At no time did the Interim Management Commission pay out more than 4 billion naira for Lassa fever contracts as alleged.
The NDDC is ready to do more to make the life of those who are affected by COVID-19, directly and indirectly, slightly better by offering palliatives across the Niger Delta. You know, of course, they're capable of doing more, and they will do more. Don't forget that they say that the COVID-19 is getting more, prevalent in the Niger Delta. It was not so before. That means people are getting a bit careless. We say always listen to all the directives they're giving to you: social distancing, observing lockdowns, wearing your mask, washing your hands very well, and other things. But don't forget, our ultimate prescription to you, as simple as warm water and lemon. See you next week.